to make the primitive drum, we are going to need a few supplies, and this is one of my favorites. This is a do-it-yourself 4th of July miniature drum. You could use this for Veterans Day, Memorial Day, or your everyday red, white, and blue decor. Some people call this Americana, military. I have a whole room decorated in red, white, and blue. Anything USA in red, white, and blue. Right here we have a paper mache box. You can get these from Dollar Tree. This is a small one, so this is going to be a really small drum, but it's just the right size. If you don't have that, perhaps you could use one of these buckets we get from Dollar Tree or with a gift. And if you have these containers left over, they are the perfect size. They're actually a little taller, and they are the same diameter. But what's interesting about this container is you would have enough space that if you have these small flags that you wish to adorn yours with and embellish it, it will fit, and you will not have to do much, if any, cutting down. I'm going to use my paints of choice. Since I'm going red, white, and blue, I, of course, have red and blue. And then as far as the other pieces you'll need some thumb tacks. These are the velvet push pins, so they have enough room there that poking out of the velvet looks fine. You can get the khaki or this blue at Dollar Tree, or just a regular gold thumbtack is what I commonly use. I just happen to have these. I printed off the 1776 in USA that I'm going to transfer on here, and as we go along, you can embellish and adorn yours the way that you like. Now I have some fabrics here, but this fabric is the one that I'm going to use for the top. You could use muslin or Eisenberg. This one happens to be cotton, and that's what I'm going with. So let me clear this off, and we're going to start making our little miniature tabletop drum. The first thing I want to do is mix up my paint, and I'm doing this with the chalks to show you that you can accomplish the blue you want without having to go out and buy more of a color, and that way you can jump right in and start making your drum and not being held back. Easier to just paint it all. What's cool about the way I'm making this is technically, if you wanted to, you could always repurpose this, reuse it, disassemble it, and use this. Also, that this bottom part here is going to be in the Napa Red. That is what I'm going to use on it. So at this point, I'm just going to take my blue and I'm going to take a little black to deepen it. This is an okay color too, just like it is. I like it as well. And it doesn't take a lot of the color at all, because you only need a spot of black to deepen this. It's just a small amount, and that's all I'm doing. And make sure it's good mixed up before you start applying it. That way you don't have streaks back and forth. And you see how dark that is, just that small amount. It'll take 2 shakes to get it on here and have it done. And because it's the chalk paint, it's going to dry real fast. So there you go. Just about got it completely painted. Just these little boxes, they're real small. This one's like a 4-inch, and it's 3 inches tall that I know of. So there you go. And I do massage it in because the paper mache drinks your paint really fast. As you can see, you were with me when I put it on there. Just that quick, it'll drink it up. And the reason why you want to paint your paper mache boxes really fast and don't overdo it and let them dry in between is because they are made out of paper. That paint is wet, and if you keep slapping it on there and get it way too wet before it can soak it up and dry, your paper mache box could potentially be compromised and start coming apart, and then you would have to use you some Mod Podge and glue it back down to get it all back like you had it. So we'll let that dry and make sure that's going to be the color that I desire, which it's looking like it is. When you want to get something painted, you just got to get with it. That way you can get to the fun part, and that's decorating it. Now I will do the bottom of this, because if it's ever sitting about and turned around, they'll see the bottom. That way it's finished. You feel a completeness. Some people cannot go without painting all sides. It drives them nuts. Their OCD kicks in. It really messes with them bad. So just go ahead and paint it. No more than it takes. It's just a small amount. So your little paper mache can make a small drum. You can turn this into a lamp, a light. You could use this as a height pillar, you know, and just put things up as a riser. And that way it's already decorated. It looks beautiful. That's why I love them, because they have multi-purposes. And, of course, they're beautiful just sitting about to look at. So this mini one, you could do one even smaller. Wouldn't that be adorable? Especially if you do like the doll houses and stuff. You could make one real quick. Use it as a Christmas ornament. Put a hanger on the top. There's so many things you can do. Okay, so we now have our drum painted. As an FYI, the Americana paints are designed for primitives and Americana folk art type things, that old-fashioned look. And the uniform blue is commonly what makes this deep navy black color. So just to bear that in mind, if you're just looking to be buying the color and it's already ready. And then the Napa Red gives you this deep rustic color that I love. This is my favorite when it comes to the red, white, and blue, the deeper, darker colors. The bright ones are beautiful too, but to make it look old-fashioned, I really like these deeper colors. Alright, now I am wanting about an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch all the way around. And I just lay my box there. And this fabric, I can see real easy that it's 3.5 rows, technically 4 rows. So I can just go 4 rows on this side and mark it. And that's going to put me exactly where I need as far as kind of sharing it all the way around. And I've marked it right here so that I can show you how I come up with that. And then I just follow that pattern, because I'm going to be cutting this into a round, and so it's just easier to go ahead and cut it. I happen to cut these with my crimping shears, but regular shears would be just fine. That way, if it does some raveling, gives it a naturalness to it. And all I will do now is just take and lay it around, and then I'll just take my corners off and make it more round-like. And a lot of times it's just so much easier to fold it and just fold it. And I can real easily just take all of my corners off and make it more round. I just kind of go around so it's not so square. Give it that cut, and then I can fold it again and make it even more round. So I'm going to take and put some tea dye on here. I have a big jug made of it, and it's going to take such a small amount. Just drizzle some in this bowl and put my fabric in there. And that's simple enough. This will be dry in just a jiffy. So I'll squeeze out the excess, and I'll put that difference back in my jug if I need to, or I'll put it in my coffee crunch bottle and just spread this out. And it won't take long for this to dry. So during that time, I can, like I said, wax this and make it more smooth so it's not gritty and textured. Lay that there. Now, my fabric is all dry, and it's got that natural worn look to it. I love it. And before we do anything further after painting this, I'm going ahead and put my top on there, because we're going to be putting our numbers on here, and then also the USA I want to put around here. We're also going to be adding our thumbtacks and our string. So the next thing I want to do is I want to prepare my letters for the top of this. Now I already know that I need to pretty much mark it for that center area, and I've already kind of sized it up, and I know that this is a little bit too long. I'm going to have to bring these numbers closer together. So now I've got the numbers traced on top, and I'm going to just use a paint marker to go over those. They look so good that you could technically use any of your like mega gel pens, and then you can heat set it, but then that way I can just paint it on. Now my USA, because in my mind I really want to keep these separated and put a dot in between, and I'll show you that. So I've kind of scrap cut it so that I can stick it on there and trace them, and that way it'll be easy to get this sticky adhesive out of here. I can just easily, like I said, I've already weeded it for the most part to make it easier for me to get these out, and that way I can put them onto my box and trace them. I'll just make it super easy, because these are so thin they will rip. Now remember, your paint job does not have to be perfect, because this is primitive, and that is a bonus when you're doing these, because now you're just making them really prim. I love the paint markers. It makes my crafting such a breeze and a pleasure to do, because you can really just knock this out really quick. Stress-free painting. I love it. Just fill it in. Main thing with these, make sure that you have your felt flooded on your markers when you go to using them, so that you don't get this jagged left out area. Then that way you can just go right along there, clean it up, and make sure that if you pick up any lint, that you can easily take that off before you store your marker. If it builds up, of course, you want to make sure you clean it off. Make sure I get the bottom of that. And it doesn't hurt to heat set these when they dry, and that keeps them from running too. You can also put a little bit of Mod Podge on there if you wanted to. You could do it like on the underneath, but I think this will be just fine. Let that dry, and then on these, I probably will do these in a gold ink, just so they'll really show up and make it so much easier. It's a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed doing this one. Once I get them stuck where I want to, the main thing is to get this paper off. They'll make them a lot easier to deal with. I'm just gonna like put them on there, because most of the time you're gonna be seeing that. So I'm gonna put that like that. And remember, you don't want them perfect, so don't be too particular unless that's just your style and it's really what you want to do. And with these, another thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to raise this up enough to detach the A from the S, and then the S will have its own tab, and that way they stay perfectly distanced apart, as they're already been printed that way. Now I can do those with my paint marker. This is how I did my USA, and I put these dots here. And you could really truly do all kinds of different things on this. Once again, you could add a flag back here. That would look so gorgeous. And that's what we have so far. Now, this is the 1776. It's going to go atop. And I've made sure that when I'm doing that, I'm my little 1/2 inch hanging over, and that's going to give just enough appearance of that USA. It's exactly what I'm going for. And even though that's a little bit brighter right now, I will age this up a little bit and give it that worn look once I get everything situated. You can really truly make this in about an hour, as long as your paint's drying pretty quick and you've got everything cut out for like your numbers or whatever you may be embellishing with yours, different wordage or a flag. I would have really liked to put a flag on mine, but unfortunately I don't have anything small enough, and if I do fabric, well, it's just such a tiny area there, I don't think it would do me much good. But the larger ones, it looks fantastic on. So I decided to make a change. I'm going to put me a band around this upper top and trim the fabric back more. I really truly want to look more authentic, like a true drum for our DIY. For this primitive look, I'm going to take and paint this cardboard that came from a spool, and you can do the same thing. You could also top this with jute twine. You could use ribbon, rope, whichever you like. And I'm going to use my Napa Red to paint it up so I can cut it. Now, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of Mod Podge to keep my placement of my fabric. That way I can trim it really close. And that will just lay it down so that it doesn't slide around. Also around the edges, so I can trim it close, and then I can put my piece on it. And then that way I don't have any of my fabric shifting or going anywhere that I don't need it to go. Make sure I can show up my letters or my numbers. So around the edge here, I'm definitely going to make sure that I put some Mod Podge to hold my fabric around this edging, because I'm going to be trimming it really, really close. And then that way anything extra will be cut off. And then I'm going to be kind of aging this up after I get all that situated. And I want that, I don't mind it having that little bit of gathering. I think it'll give it that true look, authentic look. But all this extra fabric will not be needed. And I don't want it super tight. I want it to have a little bit of leisure to it. And I haven't heat set this, but I'm just going to throw a little bit of Mod Podge on those letters. Got the Mod Podge underneath, which is going to help it too. And using Mod Podge for its true and intended purpose, which is a sealer. Yes, I'm liking that. It's looking much, much better. Now it's going in a direction that's pleasing to me. So I'll give that a few minutes to dry, and then I'll trim off the difference. I got my bands painted, and of course I need just a small section of this second one. But this is going to be my band that I'm going to glue around here. And as you see, I need that extra taken off. And I'm just going to use hot glue gun. But I'm going to make sure that, like my USA, and I've got my number across there, and it's kind of crooked. I mean, it's almost too late to move this Mod Podge, but that's the way it ended up, and we're going to run with it. I'm not going to sweat that at all. Even though the 176 is there and the US here, it's offset just a little bit. So that was me moving it and shifting it and so forth. It'll be just fine. And now I can just go around here and trim off this difference before I glue that band on. Okay, that should take care of that. Try it now. I've got some glue there now. If we want to, we can trim more off of that band, but I am not overly worried about it. It is prim, and I'm going to go light with the glue. Make sure you lay it down, don't have it chunked up, because of the little pins that's going to go in here. It'll be a whole lot harder to get them pressed in if you got that glue there, and it might tear the rest of your stuff up just trying to get it on there. As you can see, it looks pretty good. Got that glued about there. Now I just need to put a little piece back here in this section. Now I want to age this yellow up. It's a little too intense, and I have some nutmeg with some white here. I'm just barely going to touch in that on the outer part where I've got water mixed in with it. And I'm going to see if I can't maybe lighten this up a little bit. That's underneath there, so I'm not worried about that. As you can see, I'm just kind of going over it. I'm not trying to be like particular. Just kind of give it some rubbed look to it. I don't want to use black or brown. It can be a bit much at times. And then that way it has just that little hint of grayish whitening to it. And at this point, my brush is pretty much dry. I'm just going back and touching some of that. Got my push pins, and the kind of way you want to do this, like I said, this is like 12. You're going to have one here, one up here, and one down here. So you can kind of divide the difference and when you're looking at it. And you do want it like midways of your piece there. So like that cord is going to go in between that USA or US, the letters U and S. So you want to kind of divide the difference. And just press that in. And when you push this in, you want to kind of hold off a little bit because the cord's got to go around it. So if I got one there, then I need one up here, and I don't need too many in there. Kind of has to be angled. And these you can kind of go around and circle. That's looking so cute right there. I'll put one down here. It's going through all those boards. So I'm doing it like that because they're really sharp. They're not giving me too much of a struggle. So dividing the difference here. And if you get them too far out, you can just take them out and put them back in. And as you can see, I'm getting another one probably right here. Now when I look down on this, you can see there's 4 and then there's 4. There's like corners. So if you look at it like that and you look down on it, you see those push pins. And I'm just going to take the jute twine. And this is the really narrow. So leave a tail on it because you'll need to tie to it. And so maybe I'll leave my tail out here. And you'll just bring it up a little bit so you can run your cord. You can run the cord around it. Then when you do this one, you'll go the opposite way. So push your pin back in, pull this one out a bit. And since I need this and going in that direction, I can wrap it around it. I'll push my pin back down. I pull this one up and I go around it the opposite way and bring it down here. Push that one in, pull this one out, bring it around, and then this one, I'll go the opposite way, and then this one, pull it out and go this way, push it back, and almost around, pretty quick. And that one, see the little thing come off, the little cushion, not a problem. I'll glue it back on. And I'll come around it. So now you can actually see what it looks like back there. Push that down, pull this one out, come around it, and now I can tie to this one. So what do you think so far? Are you loving it? I am super loving it. That yellow still looks bright on your screen, but honestly, trust me, it is got the worn look. It looks great. Alright, now we got our drum made, we need to make our drumsticks. Now you can easily make your drumsticks by gluing a bead onto a wooden skew, like you would make shish kebabs with. I have these left over from honeysuckers, and they already have the bead on them, and the sucker's generally up here, and you can kind of see it stained. But these are excellent. And if you want to make them match and dress them up, you can. You could glue them together and put them with the drum It really depends on what you want to do. And these look really nice together, especially displayed. But that's an easy way to fix your drumsticks. You can fancy these up and put some jute twine on them and paint them and really make them match. You can do the red, white, and blue, which that'd be super easy to do. Since I do have a dirty brush, I can give them a little bit of color here. Just dry brushing. See how that color looks on them. Just give them some look to them. Do the ball. Give them that rubbed look. Now this is looking cute. I couldn't get my blue marker to work, but the red one is. And this is looking really cool. I like this. I like this a lot. Give it that firecracker kind of look. Especially that red is just the perfect red for this task. I am very pleased. You can't beat the Sharpie paint markers anyway. They have a blastful color. So that looks even more matching with the drum. So all in all, we have our gorgeous drum set here. I'm super pleased. So showing that off, once again, we have our 1776, our USA, our do-it-yourself primitive drum that can represent the 4th of July, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, red, white, and blue, Independence, and of course our primitive decor. More than one thing for that task. And where my blue was running out on that marker and adding that red, look how perfect that is. It just aged it up just right. So now we have our drum set. And you can always take and put these little sticks like underneath if you wanted to. Be careful doing it. Always crossing them makes it look really neat. And have them out the side. You could even cut those sticks down, which is probably what I should do, because they're kind of long. But then you have your drumsticks right there together. This looks better if you were able to see it. It's a nicer view. And you could prop it up like that, any way you wanted to do it. So here we are, a close-up. So you can see how cute that's looking, just sitting there on its side. Nicely propped with its little drumsticks. Super cool. And then if it's sitting like this, you can really get a look at it. And how neat they look just sitting there. Now we got paint on the mat. It just looks grand. I am just super, super tickled with it. And I know you'll enjoy making this. Independence Day, 4th of July, primitive DIY drum.